Reset your frequency sounds like something you'd hear right before someone tries to sell you a crystal that costs more than your rent. But strip away the mystical branding, and it's actually about something far less magical and far more inconvenient. Your brain runs on habits, predictions, and emotional leftovers from the past. Old energy isn't a ghost, it's outdated mental software, and reprogramming reality doesn't mean bending the universe. It means changing how your nervous system interprets events, which quietly changes how you behave, which changes what happens next. This video is about uninstalling the mental apps that keep crashing your day and installing new default commands. No incense required. Number 1. Emotional cache overflow. You don't wake up neutral. You wake up carrying yesterday, like a backpack you forgot to take off. Old conversations, half-finished stress, that weird comment someone made that your brain has replayed 17 times with different background music. This is called emotional residue, and your brain treats it like cache data. It keeps it around just in case. The same way your phone keeps photos from 2014 for absolutely no reason. The problem is when your emotional cache is full, your reactions lag. Small things feel heavy. Neutral comments feel suspicious. Your nervous system responds to today like it's still arguing with last week. Resetting your frequency starts with noticing this build up instead of fighting it. When you pause and mentally label what you're carrying, irritation, exhaustion, low-grade dread, your brain gets permission to release it. Neuroscience shows that naming emotions reduces limbic activity. Translation: your brain stops hoarding feelings. Like a doomsday prepper, once the cache clears, your reactions speed up. You respond instead of flinch. You stop dragging yesterday's mood into today's situations like it's a +1 nobody invited. Basically, you didn't change who you are. You just closed a bunch of unnecessary background tabs, and suddenly, your life stopped freezing every 5 minutes. Number 2. The comfort of familiar misery. You know that feeling when something bad happens, but it's the kind of bad you recognize. That's your brain choosing familiar misery over unfamiliar peace. Humans do this constantly. We'll cling to stress patterns, self-doubt, and low-level chaos, not because they're good, but because they're predictable. Your brain is a survival machine, not a happiness consultant. It values certainty over comfort. So if you've spent years being anxious, disappointed, or mildly overwhelmed, your nervous system treats that stay as home. When things get quiet or good, your brain panics and goes, "Something's wrong. Where's the problem?" This is why people self-sabotage during calm periods. They start arguments. They overthink neutral situations. They invent future disasters like a hobby. It's not stupidity. It's pattern loyalty. Cutting old energy means gently betraying your favorite suffering pattern. You notice the urge to worry, spiral, or assume the worst, and you don't follow it, not with willpower, with curiosity. Interesting, you think, my brain wants chaos again. That pause interrupts the loop. Over time, your nervous system recalibrates. Calm stops feeling suspicious. Peace stops feeling empty. And when that happens, your reality appears to improve. Not because life changed, but because you stopped emotionally fighting it, like it owed you money. Basically, you didn't lose your edge. You just stopped rehearsing disaster as a personality trait. Number 3. Identity lag error. Imagine upgrading your phone, but still typing like it's 2009. That's identity lag. Your external life changes. New job, new knowledge, new boundaries, but internally, you're still running the old version of yourself. Your brain builds identity from repetition. If you've spent years thinking of yourself as unlucky, behind, or the one things don't work out for, that label doesn't update automatically just because circumstances improve. So when opportunities appear, your brain hesitates. It delays action. It doubts timing. It quietly steers you back toward familiar outcomes. This is why people miss chances and later say, "I don't know why I didn't go for it." You do know. Your identity software rejected the update. Reprogramming reality requires a temporary identity override. You don't declare a new personality. You borrow one for a day a week, or even an hour. You act as someone who expects decent outcomes. You answer messages faster. You speak more directly. You assume you're allowed to be in the room. Neuroscience calls this self-perception theory. Your brain watches what you do and updates beliefs accordingly. Action first, identity second. Eventually, the lag disappears. The new behavior sticks, and suddenly, the world seems more responsive. People call this alignment. Your brain calls it, oh, we are this person now. Basically, you didn't become someone new. You just caught up with yourself. Number 4, the thought loop prison. At some point, you realize you're thinking the same thoughts you were thinking 3 years ago. Same worries, same arguments with imaginary people, same internal monologue. That sounds like a stressed out podcast with no unsubscribe button. That's not personality. That's a loop. Your brain loves loops because they save energy. Thinking something new costs fuel. Replaying the same mental playlist is cheap, efficient, and deeply unhelpful. So once a thought proves emotionally stimulating fear, shame, resentment, nostalgia, your brain keeps pressing replay, like it's a greatest hit. The problem is that thoughts aren't neutral. Repeated thoughts reinforce neural pathways. The more you think something, the more true it feels regardless of accuracy. That's how opinions harden. Self-doubt becomes identity, and random assumptions start masquerading as facts. Breaking the loop doesn't mean think positive. Your brain will laugh and continue spiraling. Instead, you disrupt the pattern with novelty. Change physical position. Speak the thought out loud in a ridiculous voice. Write it down, and look at it like it belongs to someone else. These actions activate different neural circuits and weaken the loop's grip. Once interrupted, the thought loses authority. It becomes noise instead of law. And when that happens, your reality shifts. Not because the world changed, but because the mental narrator lost its microphone. Basically, you didn't escape your mind. You just stopped letting it DJ your entire existence. Number 5, nervous system time travel. Your body lives in the past longer than your brain does. You might know you're safe, stable, and not about to be chased by anything with claws. But your nervous system is still responding to old situations like they're happening right now. That's because your nervous system doesn't understand calendars. It understands patterns. If stress, rejection, or instability showed up repeatedly in the past, your body learned to stay braced. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, jaw clenched like it's holding secrets. This is why you can feel anxious in perfectly normal moments, like standing in line or opening an email that literally says, "Just checking in." Resetting your frequency requires teaching your body that time has passed. And no explaining this logically does nothing. Your nervous system learns through sensation, slow breathing, gentle movement, long exhales, warmth, stillness, signals that say we survived. It's over. When your body exits survival mode, your perception changes instantly. You interpret neutral faces as neutral instead of hostile. Silence stops feeling like danger. Pauses stop feeling like rejection. That alone improves your luck, because you're no longer reacting to ghosts. People with regulated nervous systems make clearer decisions. They speak with confidence without forcing it. They don't rush or freeze as often. And those micro behaviors stack into better outcomes. Basically, your life didn't get safer. Your body just finally received the memo. Number 6, default reaction rewrite. Most of your day isn't lived consciously. It's order responses. Someone cuts you off, you tense. An email sounds off, you assume doom. A plan changes, your mood collapses like a folding chair. These aren't choices, they're defaults. Your brain loves defaults because deciding everything manually would melt it. So it installs reaction shortcuts early in life and rarely revisits them. The problem: many of those defaults were written by a younger, more panicked version of you with very limited data. Reprogramming reality means editing those defaults, not by stopping reactions impossible, but by inserting a pause. Even half a second is enough. When you hesitate before reacting, your prefrontal cortex sneaks online, like a calm adult entering a chaotic room. That pause changes everything. Instead of snapping, you ask. Instead of assuming, you wait. Instead of spiraling, you observe. Over time, your brain rewires which reactions feel normal. Calm becomes the new default. Curiosity replaces defense. And here's the strange part. People respond differently to you. Conversations soften. Conflicts dissolve faster. Opportunities appear because you didn't burn bridges with a reflex. Others call this maturity. Some call it luck. Neurologically, it's just updated software. You didn't suppress yourself. You gave your nervous system better instructions. Basically, you didn't change the world. You stopped letting outdated reflexes negotiate on your behalf. Number 7. Attention is the remote control. You think you're reacting to reality, but really, you're reacting to whatever your attention is glued to. Attention is not passive. It's an amplifier. Whatever you stare at gets louder, heavier, and more important. Even if it's nonsense, your brain has limited bandwidth. Yet, it will happily spend 90% of it monitoring problems that don't exist yet. Hypothetical conversations, imaginary outcomes, worst-case scenarios, written by a screenwriter who hates you. The more attention you give these, the more real they feel, until your nervous system starts responding like it's already happening. Resetting your frequency here means reclaiming attention on purpose, not obsessively. Casually, you notice when your focus drifts toward doom, and you redirect it to something neutral or tangible. Your breath, your surroundings, a task that exists in front of you. This isn't avoidance. It's triage. Neuroscience backs this up. Attention shapes neural firing patterns. What you attend to repeatedly becomes your normal shift. Attention and reality seems to shift with it. You're less overwhelmed, less reactive, more capable of seeing options instead of obstacles. This is why two people can live the same day and have completely different experiences. One focused on threats, the other noticed openings. Basically, reality didn't get kinda. You just stopped zooming in on the parts that were trying to scare you for entertainment. Number 8. Language reprogramming glitch. The words you use in your head aren't just commentary, they're instructions. Your brain treats internal language like a user manual. If the manual says this is hard, your nervous system prepares for impact. If it says this always goes wrong, your brain starts looking for evidence, like it's on a scavenger hunt. This happens because language shapes prediction. Your brain doesn't wait to see what happens. It guesses first, then adjusts. And it guesses based on how you describe things to yourself. Reprogramming here is subtle. You don't swap negative thoughts for motivational posters. You change the command structure. Instead of "I can't handle this," it becomes "This is uncomfortable." Instead of "Everything's ruined," it becomes "This is annoying." Same situation, completely different biological response. Those small wording shifts reduce stress hormones and keep your nervous system from escalating. You stay online instead of shutting down or lashing out. Decisions improve. Timing improves. Conversations improve over time. This changes your baseline experience. Life feels less hostile, less personal, more workable. People mistake that for high-frequency energy. In reality, you just stopped verbally threatening your own brain. All day, basically. You didn't lie to yourself. You just updated the language pack. Number 9. Letting go of outcome obsession. At some point, you start gripping outcomes like they're slippery soap bars. You plan, predict, rehearse, and emotionally relive situations that haven't happened yet. Your brain calls this being prepared. Your nervous system calls it, "Why are we sprinting while standing still?" Outcome obsession creates tension. Tension narrows perception. When you're desperate for things to go a certain way, you miss alternative signals and timing cues. You talk too much, you hesitate too long, you overcorrect mid-sentence. None of this feels dramatic. It just feels like things keep almost working out. Letting go doesn't mean not caring. It means loosening the chokehold. You focus on the next action instead of the final result. You show up, respond honestly, and stop micromanaging the future like it owes you clarity. Psychologically, this lowers performance anxiety. Biologically, it calms cortisol spikes. Practically, you come across as confident without trying, because you're no longer broadcasting need through every micro expression. This is where people say, things worked out when I stopped trying so hard. Not because effort is bad, but because desperation distorts behavior. Calm engagement attracts cooperation. Tension repels it. Basically, you didn't stop aiming. You stopped strangling the arrow before letting it fly. Number 10. Living in update mode. The final reprogramming step is staying adjustable. Most people decide who they are, what life is, and how things go, and then they defend those conclusions forever, like they're under oath. That rigidity is old energy in its final form. Living in update mode means assuming you might be wrong. In a relaxed way, you let new information in. You adapt without making it an identity crisis. When something doesn't work, you adjust instead of self-attacking. Your brain loves this. It thrives on feedback loops. When you treat life as responsive instead of fixed, you stay curious instead of bitter, flexible instead of fragile. That flexibility is the ultimate frequency reset because it keeps you from hardening around past versions of reality. Neurologically, adaptability increases resilience. Emotionally, it prevents stagnation. Socially, it makes you easier to be around. And yes, functionally, it makes life feel smoother. People call this being in sync, or aligned, or on a different frequency. Your brain calls it finally, we are allowed to update. Basically, you didn't reprogram the universe. You just stopped running expired software and wondering why everything kept crashing. That's all for today. I will be making similar videos in the future.